about where we're going as a company, one of the first things I thought of is one of the most exciting visions I've seen for our company, and I've been with the company since 1993, so whatever, do the math, whatever that is, has been what we've talked about lately. And so we want to kind of share with you, Press and I spent 2 days last week in Austin in the tech labs, and we want to kind of share with you the vision that we see coming down the pipeline that we're so excited about, and we want to share with you so that you can be excited and you can also participate in.
And hopefully get one of these awesome t-shirts.
Yeah, definitely get. I told Keller when I walked in, I said, I'm just going to be honest, I'm only here because of the cool t-shirt. And he said, so am I. So let's go ahead and we're going to kind of share with you some of the things that we learned.
So let's start with a question.
Here you go, Chris.
Is it easier for a tech company to get into real estate or for a real estate company to get into tech? What do you think?
Tech company to get into real estate.
Why is that?
Well, because they've already got all the tech set up, and you just go right into real estate.
Would it be easier for Amazon to get into real estate or for us to get and become
To be Amazon.
Easier for them.
Right?
Yeah. So this is kind of the basis and the premise that Gary laid it out for us to understand. So that's the question that he presented with us, is which would be easier? Because quite honestly, we want to protect our industry, we want to protect our role, we want to protect our commissions, and we want to protect who we are as an industry, right? We love our industry. This is a great industry to provide for your family and to reach all of your goals, but we have to protect that. We have to know what's coming down the pipeline to do that. You got the remote? Okay. So in a changing environment, I want to share with you some of the things that will never change. Because a lot of times we get a little freaked out by change, right? We get a little nervous, but here are some key things about our company that will never, ever change. We believe the agent is the brand.
We believe agents build real estate companies.
We believe agents are partners, not our customers.
We believe in your listings and your leads.
We believe in teaching you to fish, not giving you fish.
You're blank.
Or come over here.
You're coming over them.
Oh, okay, my bad.
You got one now, okay.
Yeah. We believe who you determine wealth for matters.
We also believe in training and consulting. So how many of you ever heard in the very beginning what we were called instead of a real estate company early on? Who remembers who we were described as? What did Keller say? We're a training and consulting company that's very what? Thinly disguised as a real estate company, right? So Press and I are on a recruiting appointment, a couple of recruiting appointments the other day, and during that recruiting appointment, I turned to the recruiter and I said, let me ask you a question. Who do you believe Keller Williams is? And in all the instances where we asked that, the person that was sitting across the table from us said, oh my gosh, I've heard your training is fabulous. I've heard that your training is great. I've heard that you are a training company. So we've done a very good job, right? We've done a very good job of really portraying who we said we wanted to be. And now we've said we want to be a tech company, right? Was anybody besides me a little bit confused about that at the very beginning, why we would start describing ourselves as a tech company? I was too. So I thought, oh. And hopefully by the time we get through, you'll understand a little bit more what we mean by that. Mainly what we just asked you. It's going to be easier if we're a tech company to be in the real estate business than it is the other way around. Does that make sense? All right. So what does KW mean by being a tech company? So let's look at some of that. Well, number one, we control the data.
Number two, we control the outcome.
And hopefully we get to dress a little bit like this, right? Everybody wants to be geek, right? No, I hope not. Hope not. So why does this even matter?
Yeah, let's talk about why it even matters in the first place. Yeah. Gary, okay, it didn't show up real well, but I'll read it off to you because I know it. Gary said this last week, and he said, as an industry, we're losing so slowly, we think we're winning. What do you think he means by that?
Amazon's doing more now.
Okay, so people are moving, they're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to try to figure out how to get into our business and to get into our commissions, right?
So,
let's talk about a few of those.
Yeah, let's talk about a few of those players. You got Zillow, who, as you know, Zillow's a big player in our industry, and neither good nor bad, but their role, what they do is they put themselves in between us and our own leads, right? That's their role in the industry. You've got people like Redfin, who have planted their foot in the industry and said that as a tech company, they're going to reduce our commissions. They're going to say that we're making too much money, that we're going to do 1% listing fees, right? They're going to say their technology is more important than the agent itself. You've got a company like Matterport, and again, these are neither good nor bad companies. I'm just laying out what we heard last week. Matterport, interestingly enough, shared not too long ago that they were going to allow their data to be shared with other companies, that they were going to sell our data, and the clients, they had to let the clients know, and the clients who heard that reached back out so fiercely and so strongly against them that within a short amount of time, they reverted back and said, oops, just kidding, we're no longer doing that. And then you've got companies, other tech companies like Commissions Inc., who they're actively playing in this space, dumping lots of money into the real estate industry to try and play and put their foot down in a certain category.
So basically what Gary describes is we're in the fourth industrial revolution. So we've had hardware was the first, software was the second, cloud plus supercomputing was the third, and we're deeply in what he believes to be the fourth revolution. So big data and AI.
Yeah, and what I'd ask on that is, we hear these buzzwords, but what is big data? Who can kind of shout out and answer that? What is big data? Anyone?
What'd you say? Someone over here answered?
Google.
Google?
Yeah, essentially it's being able to capture massive amounts of information in one centralized location, and then artificial intelligence is like the brain behind that. It actually takes that information and grabs out something useful, some kind of useful insights that we as agents or whatever, whatever industry you're in, you can use those insights in your business to help you.
So how many of you actually use Amazon to buy something? Everybody in the room, right? So how many of you have ever noticed that when you go onto Amazon to buy something, within a few days on Facebook or somewhere, you're gonna actually get that start showing up everywhere? That's a perfect example of that, okay? So what do you want to call this for us? The industry spectrum, or actually?
It's really the competitive space we're in at this point. On one end of the spectrum, you've got agent, and to be quite honest with you, it's hard to see some of you can't see the picture, but it's got an old MLS book.
And an old lockbox.
Who may remember that.
And basically what that's saying is there was a time when everything was about the agent. Agent did everything, they had to do everything, they did it all. And they didn't have a lot of tools, tech tools to do the business with. So that was our beginning.
And then we moved into a space where there was the tech-enabled agent. This is when the computer came out, the MLS became available online. It gave us tools, it gave us power as agents to be able to operate in a more efficient manner and to make our lives and jobs easier. And then we moved over to the other side of the spectrum where you have agent-enabled tech. This is your Redfins out there. These are the companies who want to say that the technology is more important than the person.
And I believe we did. Do we or do we not have Redfin in our area? No, we do not. So see, this is going to sound a little, this is what happened to me. I'm like,
We do.
Louisville does? Okay, so a few of you do and a few of you don't. But here's the main thing to understand. When you look at the Redfin sign, do you see an agent picture or name or anything? So the theory behind that is the tech is more important than the agent. Do we believe that? God, I hope we don't, right? No, right? And so that's what that means. And then on the far spectrum, what people would be spending millions and millions of dollars for, billions of dollars for, and what they would hope for is that we could just be real estate through tech, and we wouldn't be needed at all. That would be us being disintermediated. Like someone flipped a switch one day and Uber was up and running. Does that make sense? Okay.
So the reality of the space we're playing in now is that on one end of the spectrum, the agent, that really is a dying breed, where there's that person out there who doesn't leverage technology in any way. They're quickly becoming left behind in the industry because of where tech's moving. And so on the far other end of the spectrum, where it's just technology, as we all know, real estate's complicated. There's a lot to it that's very relational. And so Gary would say that we don't believe that it's going to go swing to that very opposite end where there is no agent involved in the process. So the real battle is being played here in the middle between tech-enabled agent and agent-enabled tech. And the line in the sand has been drawn. Keller Williams has taken their plant to say that we are building tech-enabled agents, giving us the power to operate in a space against agent-enabled tech, which is where you have your Zillow, your Redfin. And I put a question mark down there because the reality is we don't know who else is fighting for a spot in this new industrial revolution that we're moving into.
Absolutely. So hence, that's why we have the computer labs and what's being done to help us be that tech-enabled agent, which we're going to share with you next.
And the reality is every player is fighting over one resource, and that's data. Data is the new oil. So in order to be a tech company, you really need to build two components first, and those are artificial intelligence and a cloud-based solution.
Yeah, and so it feels, one of the reasons, Press, that it feels like we haven't really been moving at all in the tech space is because that's taken about 2.5 to 3.5 years to get done. So how many of you, besides myself, have said before, what in the heck is the cloud, right? What the heck is the cloud? So, so talk a little bit, Press, about who's in the cloud field and who's the competitors and what one of them is doing with us.
Yeah, I brought up a question for Gary Keller last week. I said, Gary, one of the things that I'm hearing in Mint articles and just chatter around the industry is that Keller Williams is ridiculous for going this way. They don't have the money to be able to operate in this space. And it's a valid question, right? That's a good question. Do we really have the resources to do that? Well, what Gary said essentially is, you know, if we were building it from the ground level, total new technology and artificial intelligence from the cloud, that's probably right. We probably would have to be spending billions like Google and Amazon spending in these spaces. But the reality is we're actually building our artificial intelligence off of what Google has already built. So Google is playing in the same space as Amazon in the artificial intelligence and cloud space.
So they're here. This is
Right.
where they play.
This is where they play. And they want to build a platform for all companies out there that they can just plug into their artificial intelligence system and their cloud system, and then you innovate from plugging in from there, then you innovate up, if that makes sense. And so Google, as you know, Amazon's the giant. Google's there too, but Google is a little bit, I wouldn't say behind, but in order to keep up with Amazon, they have to be really competitive, right? They have to get some players on their side of the fence in order to compete with Amazon. Google's actually partnered with Keller Williams. They've invited our tech into their own labs in order to help us build out these platforms. So for the last 3.5 years, this is where we've been operating and building and innovating.
So a good example of this might help me understand it more was, you know, we're not trying to teach Kelly language because they've had to teach Siri and Alexa and all those things. That's where it would get super expensive. We're industry specific. So we're gonna take what they already have and build on top of it and be industry. All we have to do is figure it out for you guys. What
Explain
do you
what
need?
Kelly is, Linda.
Press, explain what Kelly is.
Kelly's our artificial intelligence system at Keller Williams.
And always have a press nearby.
Yeah, it was really funny because if any of you have downloaded Kelly on your phone, you know that Kelly's like a 2-year-old right now. You can't do a whole lot. And it's funny because the feedback that our tech team has heard is, well, Kelly's about as useful as Alexa and Siri is right now. And for our tech team, they're jumping for joy. They're like, oh my gosh, you're comparing Kelly to Alexa. That's the gold standard of where the
AI,
industry's
yes.
at, where, you know, across the globe where AI is at right now. So the reality is we have a platform that's going to get smarter and going to continue to build upon itself. And so that's really what it is. It's that artificial intelligence system that's going to go into our cloud space where we have all that big data, pull out insights for us as agents to use. Okay, so for the last 3.5 years, Keller Williams has been building that infrastructure. We've now accomplished that and built it.
So now we'll go faster.
So now we move a whole lot faster. And these are the 3 areas in which Keller Williams is building out platforms. The market center level, the agent level, and then on the far left, the consumer level. And we're going to be building from the right to the left, from the inside of a company out. So what does that look like? Well, these are the systems that Keller Williams is building out over the next 2 years, not 5 years, 2 years. And these are a bunch of different platforms. The first one is CloudMore. This is for our offices, right? This is going to eliminate green sheets. It's going to make transmittal a push of a button.
So, and one good thing here, yeah,
Our
it's on the MCA.
Our MCA is the platform right now.
Yeah. So here's one great thing that I thought was very beneficial. So the reason Gary doesn't have on his radar other real estate companies as who we need to try to worry about as anything is because we have win more, because we have profit share. Years ago, we had to create something that we could get data from all of our market centers. The top 3 big real estate companies don't have that. So to even go create that is a good 5-year process. Does that make sense?
They all operate decentralized, and we have a system because of profit share where all of our offices communicate back with international.
Right, so it's gonna give us a competitive advantage in this space where we believe everybody will have to eventually go. Does that make sense?
Okay, and then we also have KW Connect, and all of you should know KW Connect. It's a lot like an internal YouTube at this point. That's really going to be a professional, like a LinkedIn business profile within Keller Williams. And what I'm really excited about is by the end of this year, we're going to be having training live streamed from Keller Williams International, all of our classes, so that we can access them whenever we want to.
In the market center.
Whenever we want to watch them.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
And then we've got KW Command, and this is the tool that most people are super excited about and most anxious about. This is the CRM system within Keller Williams. Last week we got to play with that system. The component we played with is what's called Smart Plans. And the tool's gonna have everything. It's gonna have contact management, offer management, and then Smart Plans is gonna be a piece of that. Smart Plans, what that is allows you essentially to set up your 36 touch, or your 33 touch, or your 8x8, your 12 direct with inside the system. And what I'm really excited about is there's a marketplace, you can go in there. So if Tim Heil in Austin, Texas has a really incredible smart plan, he can share it within the marketplace, and it's as easy as you going and clicking a button, and it uploads into your system, and then you just add your contacts into that smart plan, and it automatically just does it.
It's awesome. And I really like the one about the Facebook advertising, so talk about that.
Yeah, that's the next step is Grow. Grow is gonna be our IDX websites, our landing pages, our Facebook ad accelerator, and what's really cool about that is that allows you, I think most of us would agree that sometimes we're really great agents, we're not great marketers. And in order to play really well on Facebook, you gotta really understand sales copy. You have to really understand how consumers like to view photos, right? And because we have artificial intelligence, because we have this massive amount of data, our Facebook ad accelerator will be able to go in, you just upload the photos, they'll go grab the best photos that get the most impressions and the right wording that gets the most impressions and just basically upload it in there. You don't have to type all that out and kind of plan what you want to put, push a button, and then it goes live on Facebook.
So now you understand we need a cloud to share all the data, and then we need the data so that we can make it all smarter so it can give you back what you need to have your competitive advantages. Does that make sense?
Yep, and the final step there is KW.com. I put a question mark there because they don't have a name for it yet, but essentially that's going to be that outward-facing consumer website where people want to go to look for houses. And the whole idea around this is going to be built around voyeurism, because you've all seen the statistics on Zillow, how many people go view on Zillow and how many of those people actually turn into leads and people that are actually buying. It's staggering. It's a totally drastic number. And so the reality is people want a place where they can go and view and look at houses in a specific way that's easy, intuitive for them. And so we already have consumer labs going right now. I think they have something like 75 hours, or not hours, but 75 different labs that they've already done with consumers planning out what this is going to look like.
And I remember I told Gary this in the labs the other day. I said, Gary, what's interesting is years ago when we were in the masterminds before he wrote the Red Book, which he got the information to write the Red Books from our masterminds. He gets all of his information from us out in the field. And so I remember us having this discussion around, since technology to allow, and I remember saying things like, it notifies them when it's time for them to do a refi. It notifies them when their hot water heater needs to be replaced. And those are the exact things they're talking about in the consumer lab now, where we have an app, and when we give someone our app, it not is only in the transaction while we're doing it, it actually follows the house in between the time from the time they sell to the time they purchase.
It manages the home ownership process.
Yeah, we manage the whole thing, so they don't have to go anywhere else when it talks about home ownership except with us and our app. It's really exciting. All right, so, Press, what can they do to be a part and help?
Well, here's what we learned last week. Here's what they tasked us with to go back to our region, go back to our offices, with what you can do as agents and as market centers to start getting involved.
I love this. Change is good. You go first. But we're going to go first in the Ohio Valley, okay?
Okay, so the first thing I would do is go into KW Connect, go into resources, go down to technology, and then go to the labs dashboard. That's going to give you the ability to sign up for the wait list for labs. Right now, labs is pretty small. They're working on expanding that And so you just want to be on that wait list for that opportunity. Some of you may get called in early, which would be fantastic. But as they expand that, you want to be on that wait list so that you're ready and you're going to be the first to get notified.
Chris, go back and show them that slide again.
Yeah.
Okay, it's KW Connect, resources, and then down to technology. And then again, over to Labs dashboard and sign up for that wait list. The second thing is they have already rolled out my referrals. So that would be where I would start. And the big question that I keep hearing is when is KW Command, when's our CRM system going to get rolled out? Well, the reality is it kind of already has, because referrals is built on KW Command. It's one component. And let me ask you this. How many of you have, if I said KW Command was ready today, how many of you would be ready to switch your CRM over tomorrow?
How many of you have ever tried to switch a CRM?
Isn't that a fun process?
Oh my gosh, it's a nightmare, right? Okay, so this is why it's being rolled out in pieces, and as we use more, it'll make the final thing even easier.
Right, so they're going to roll out different components, right? Offer management, referrals, and then one day you'll look up and you're already using 50 to 80% of your time's already in this system, and then boom, they're going to switch over contact management and then smart plans, and you can just roll it over. It'll be a whole lot easier than just turning it on. So My Referrals is the first component. If you just go on to KW Connect, go to My Referrals, you'll pop up with this dashboard, and then if you'll just go up here to Grow My Network and start adding people around the country. There is someone in our company that already has 15,000 in their personal network. Do you think they're going to leverage from that? And the reality is the way we're doing it right now is on Facebook. And if you've done it on Facebook, I know I have, you experience something called the Facebook Mafia, where you get people to comment on, let's say you're looking for an agent in Dallas, that's where I'm from. You're going to get people who say, oh, this agent's great, and your reality is you're probably going to get 100 comments with all these different agents, and the truth is you don't know whether that agent is best. And what My Referrals allows you to do is grow a network, but also the ability to go in and just search an area. You can go type in Dallas, Texas. You can filter for it. Do they do more than 10 deals a year? Are they in MAPS coaching? Are they a luxury agent? And that gives you the power so that when you're looking for a referral agent for your client who you care about and want to do the right thing for them, that puts the control back in your hands.
And some of the things we talked about, the two labs that Preston and I did was CRM and referrals, and things that were coming up that, and remember, they're going to keep making it better and better because our feedback makes them make it better, right? That's one of the things the tech guy said is it's so cool to do it this way, because normally they roll out a product and hope a consumer loves it. They are loving that they're actually sitting in the room with the people who are going to use it, and they're having a great time doing it. So as we make it better, some of the things that have been brought up is, well, I'd like to know, I'd like to know what their conversion rate is on referrals. That's what I'd want to know. So we're getting ideas of what else do we want the referral app to tell us about that agent.
Yeah, one of the other cool things we looked at is a migration map. It'll actually show you in your city where people are moving to, where are they moving from into your city.
So you could use it with a seller.
And you imagine sitting down with your seller and saying, I actually have real-time information on where people are moving to our city.
Awesome.
And actually, I'm a very proactive agent. I put ads out in those cities already looking for clients who are going to be moving to our area.
Yeah, perfect.
And the final thing is Kelly. Go on the App Store.
Baby Kelly.
Baby Kelly. Go on the App Store and just download the Kelly app. Start playing with it if you want to. It's about at the level of a 2-year-old. But that would be the first step, is go ahead and just download the app. That way when new things roll out, you'll have it at your fingertips.
Yeah, and I would say too, use our KW app. I mean, I've got some amazing stories that our own personal use of giving the KW app to people. Start using the KW app and give it out to your clients. It's a really cool tool if you're not doing it already.
Mom, let's talk a little bit about why they should adopt early instead of later, what that does for our tech team.
Okay, so for example, is anybody, when you go buy a car, it's a lot more seamless than when you buy a real estate transaction, because the consumer goes in and they have all these partnerships with all the players in the thing. So as we go out, some things we might have to partner with other people, other technology or other things. And one of the first things they have to see is that our agents are buying in and that they've got usage. So when you do this referral things, don't just do a bunch right now and stop. They're looking for data that'll look like this. It says our agents are using it and it's actually going up in use. Does that make sense? Because when our tech guys, the only thing they have to leverage when they go into these meetings to see if we can do partnerships with people that will agree to our terms. I don't know if you know this or not, but people that have already been doing business with other companies differently, they're not allowed to do it that way with us. Our agents get treated differently when we negotiate a contract because we think of the agent first. A lot of times our agents don't even know that. You don't know that Zillow doesn't get to keep our data, like, you know, those kind of things are going on. So it will become leverage for our tech team when they go try to make these partnerships if we're showing them that we are an industry that sticks together and we are determined to be the industry disruptor, not be disrupted. Yeah.
So why is it important to do this first? Basically what Linda just said, it's leverage for our tech team. You need to be on the front end of this. If you want to say in what the tech looks like, then you've got to start using it and giving feedback and step up to the plate.
Well, and also, won't they already get the data from like referrals and things like that? They'll start to get that data to be able to give back to us in a way.
Yeah,
that we can use.
last week, Josh Teams had a meeting with a very big technology company, and one of the things they said is, I don't think your agents are going to use your technology. Don't think it's going to happen. And he said, that's interesting. And if he had no data to show that we were, he basically would be like, okay, see you in a year. I'll let you know we have some information. But because we've already started using referrals, he just flipped his computer around and showed that there's already been over, I think it was in a week, there's already been over 2,000 referrals within the system that have been sent.
Given referrals back and forth. Yeah, awesome. So I'd like to leave you with what Jim Rohn says. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demand to perform are high. And I'd also like to say to you guys, go be fierce, but at the same time, always stay humble and kind. We love you guys way more than you know, and I hope you get on board and get excited. Go do some of the things that Press said. We have some great competitive advantage coming down the pipeline, and we just want to share it with you because we've been super excited about it, and we want you to know it's going to be super exciting for you also, but we need to all do our part. So thank you guys, and congratulations on a great year for all the award winners.